Welcome to our world. Won't you come on in? Waiting just for you. Welcome to our world.
All right, well, I'll figure it out. As I usually do, I'll figure it out. Are we recording?
Yes.
Great.
I think so.
Are you sure?
No. Hold on.
Can you be sure?
Go ahead.
You're sure?
I think so.
That's not what I asked. Are you recording?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I guess I don't know. I don't know. Okay, because I'm thinking about things that are that are superior to other things. For example,
I can help you with that.
For example, tea is superior to coffee.
No.
It is.
No, that's not true.
Coffee is literally dirt.
Here's a question.
Tea
and you're
has
the person,
many medicinal benefits.
You're the person who does the research in real time.
That is I.
No, coffee does too, though, I think. Yeah, so how much coffee is consumed versus tea? That would be very interesting to know. I mean, obviously in certain parts of the world, it's tea.
Well,
in other parts of the world, it's coffee.
I didn't look that up because I didn't want to. But what I did look up was, is tea or coffee better for you?
No, that's not the question.
Generally, tea and coffee are both healthy drinks in moderation, and the better choice depends on individual needs and preferences. I'll look up yours in a second, okay? I just wanted to see what the interwebs had to say.
Question before the court.
They're comparing them. So tea has a lower caffeine content, which, as we know, too much caffeine is bad for you.
But if
so
you
tea
want,
having a lower caffeine
well,
you shouldn't. Okay, I'm gonna stop us right there.
I didn't say
you
anything.
shouldn't need caffeine to survive throughout the day. You should not.
Do you know? When I was younger, I would start the day. I would start the day with a big glass of chocolate milk every day, and I think that was healthier than coffee. I really do. Maybe I should get back to that.
So you admit that coffee's not healthy?
No, I just said I think it's healthier than coffee. It's like vitamins. Vitamin D might be healthier than, I don't know, some other vitamin.
All vitamins are different, though. That's not a good example.
Here's the thing that gets me, though.
What?
So caffeine, right?
Okay.
If you're worried about getting too much caffeine, is it good for you? Is it not good for you? Then why does everybody and their brother drink these energy drinks anymore?
Obviously that's an entirely different subset because... Well, here's the way that I've always looked at it. And maybe because some of the newer energy drinks, their whole promotion is about how their caffeine is healthy caffeine, like from green tea extract or something like that. Whereas a lot of them have, I don't know, what is it? Fake caffeine?
No,
what's in a Monster? What caffeine is in a Monster? I don't know. But yeah, the whole point is those are not healthy for you, and studies have shown that if you repeatedly, like if you're drinking 2 of them a day, then you're more likely to have a heart attack or something like that.
I just heard something this morning and I didn't hear the whole, it was part of a podcast actually. And I think it was around that, and it talked about, I was half listening to it, but it was the kind of thing where, if you drink now and then, it's not going to hurt you. But if you drink, 3 a day, 7 days a week for X number of years, it's like, it's like when they have tests for things and they cause cancer, but it's in extremely high dosages. Well, if you're getting it constantly,
everything in moderation.
Right.
Energy drinks in moderation.
Right. Little arsenic never hurt anything.
I only have had energy drinks when I needed to stay awake. For example, when I would be working a night shift where I'm not getting out until 1 or 2 in the morning.
Right.
If I don't have an energy drink, I'm not making it home. Like, that's just the way it is. And that's not healthy. I'm not suggesting it is.
It's like some people with cocaine.
Okay, sure. That's a great comparison. So tea, obviously lower caffeine content.
Looks like it's time for my 10 a.m.
Speaking of
vitamin.
Okay, great.
Hopefully I won't die.
Whereas coffee has the higher caffeine content. Potential benefits of tea: reduce stress, improved focus, heart health, and managed blood sugar. All lovely things.
Managed blood sugar?
Yes, it is. And I also want to point out.
Well, that's interesting.
First, because you're having blood sugar issues right now.
No, I'm not.
I also want to point out.
But I don't want to.
Well, I'm gonna stop you though, because I'll get to something in a second that'll. I know where your brain is going.
This
and
podcast is really about my health.
And I am already there. But tea, because also I don't know when was coffee discovered?
Oh, it had to be a long time ago. Probably Chinese.
I'm going to look that up in a second too. Well, that's what I was going to say though, because Chinese are more known for their teas. They were, had many different medicinal uses for teas and different types of teas. And there are so many varieties of tea now that have all different types of benefits. Like each individual tea has its own benefit.
Just for the record, I don't dislike tea.
I know. I'm just making the argument for tea. You are supposed to be making the argument for coffee because you drink coffee and I drink tea.
I know, but I actually want to look this up because if there was conclusive proof that tea is just much healthier overall, I could switch to tea pretty easily, I mean, the hardest part would be I'd have to move to England.
Okay. Anyway, so those are the potential benefits. Potential benefits of coffee. Potential benefits of coffee has been linked to benefits like improved liver health, athletic performance, and may lower the risk of type 2 diabetes.
See that? Liver is very good for you, too. You brought it up. You just mentioned it. When I was a kid, we used to have liver just on very rare occasions.
Back to tea. Digestive comfort. Certain herbal teas, which is what I was saying, how different types of teas have different benefits, like peppermint and ginger, can soothe the digestive system.
I need that. Everyone.
It's also been shown that raspberry leaf tea is good for reproductive health for women.
That doesn't help me.
I hate you.
Here's the thing. Can we
I
clear
hate
something
so
up?
much about the things you choose to be.
Everyone.
I don't hate you. That was mean. What?
This is an issue. I'll say this for the airing of grievances. Never mind.
Hydration. Tea can contribute to daily fluid intake and may be slightly more hydrating than coffee.
What's that supposed to mean?
Important note.
Any drink can add to the daily fluid intake.
You know what's crazy, though, is I could have sworn that tea was actually dehydrating for some reason. I feel like I read that at some point.
Well,
that tea dehydrates you.
Well, it makes you feel dehydrated, which means you have to drink more.
No, I think it actually dehydrates. Because I remember
I think that's the point.
Because
you should look this up.
Because I remember for a time that after I had read this, I was drinking extra water every day to make up for the fact that I knew I was dehydrating myself with tea.
I can't take this, though, because, at one point, the water thing, people were like really into that, like making sure they had a bottle of water on their desk all the time.
Too much water is not good for you.
And now that's what they say. They say that now. No, but I'm saying you never heard that until that woman died, radio show.
No, that's not why. That's not why.
That's what it was.
Okay, well, as someone who's on the health side of the interwebs and not the terrifying death side of the internet, the reason you're not supposed to drink an excessive amount of water is because then your body doesn't hold the vitamins and the nutrients that you put in. It flushes them all out.
To me, okay, but to me, the concept that you shouldn't drink like excessive amounts, certain things seem so obvious to me, and
everything
maybe that's
in moderation, including water.
Right. But now you see things that say about drinking too much water, and they're not talking about drinking like, gallons and gallons. They're talking about, no, you shouldn't have X number of cups per day. So much of this is marketing.
I just told you why.
Marketing is destroying our country. It literally is destroying the world. And people are dumb and they hear marketing and they believe it.
You know what else is destroying our country?
Sorry, that was an airing of a grievance.
You know what else is destroying our country?
What?
Coffee, because its acidity can sometimes cause digestive issues, particularly for individuals with acid reflux.
Well, that's true. That's why, by the way, I only drink caffeinated coffee. Oh, excuse me.
Tea has high antioxidants. Coffee can cause jitters.
We're gonna have to
If
apologize
you all,
for this.
yeah, if you all hear that sound in the background, which I'm sure you do because we have excellent microphones, we are getting one of the bathrooms remodeled in our
Yeah.
house. And even though he's on kind of the other side
He's on
of the house,
Yeah,
he's at least
2
a couple rooms
away.
over.
Well, technically 3 because the closet's between there and here too.
Yes, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what the noise is, and this is when we have to record the podcast. So you all just have to suck it up.
This house, it's weird. It's all connected.
They don't
So that's
care
where the
about the
sound
house.
carries.
What else? What did you want me to look up originally about tea versus coffee?
What is consumed? What's the thing?
Which is consumed more?
Yeah.
I think worldwide.
Yeah.
I would argue tea is probably worldwide. In
If I had to
America,
take a guess,
I think it's coffee.
If I had to take a guess, I would say tea worldwide. But
please hold. I have to set the mic down.
I'm really curious. Okay, assuming tea is consumed more worldwide than coffee, I'd be curious to know, and I agree with what you said, probably the United States, it's going to be coffee. But in other countries, what is it?
As I said,
Go ahead.
Tea is consumed more worldwide than coffee, while coffee is widely enjoyed, especially in the Americas.
Okay, so the Americas.
Tea is the preferred beverage in many parts of Asia and the former Soviet Union. In fact, globally, 3 cups of tea are reportedly drunk for every 1 cup of coffee.
Wait, where are 3 cups? Where's that?
Globally.
Oh, overall,
On a
3
whole,
times
yeah.
as much. Okay, no. Well, I said I agreed that probably that was going to be higher. But what other countries other than the United States?
It says coffee is more dominant in regions like the Americas and continental Europe.
The Americas, that's the United States.
North America and South America, great. And tea is preferred.
Canada.
And Canada, sure.
Our 51st state.
Stop it. Is preferred in many parts of Asia, including China and India, which collectively make up a large portion of the world's population.
Right.
But coffee production globally is higher than tea production. For why? I'm going to tell you why.
That's funny.
I'm going to tell you why. And because of the different coffee brands that have grown the industry, they have also collectively increased the price of coffee. So it makes more sense for companies to produce coffee because they get a great...
No,
Why?
but still that doesn't make sense because...
Yes, it does.
No, listen. There is no company
does.
that's producing more coffee than they can sell. Or there's no company that's producing less tea than they can sell. So in other words, that's a huge. This is confusing. You should.
I am going to tell you what. Go ahead.
See if you can find.
Oh my gosh!
Because we're saying tea as a whole. Well, hold on. If you include iced tea, right?
Oh my gosh, we're not doing this right now. Well, then we're not including iced coffee.
That's fine. Do you think iced coffee? Iced coffee is not a big percentage of the coffee sales.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
You don't think iced coffee?
No.
You don't think all of the high school and college girls running around ordering their drinks from Starbucks?
I'm not saying that there aren't.
Absolutely not.
Percentage wise, okay? Iced tea makes up a greater percentage of the tea market than iced coffee makes of the coffee market.
No, I disagree. You're thinking about
I'm
in
allow
America.
You to be wrong.
You are thinking about in the United States. You're thinking about what you know.
Of course
globally, where it's saying that tea is consumed the most, that is hot tea. That is hot tea they're talking about. That is not iced tea.
I want to know.
The majority of tea.
Exclude iced beverages. Exclude iced beverages.
A tea connoisseur know this. Who reads the tea magazines when they come in the mail? Who is it? Is it you?
No, I can proudly say. I can proudly say it is not me reading the tea magazines.
Here are the numbers, though. Global tea production. This is in 2021.
I don't care. You're not excluded. I want to hear what iced tea versus hot tea.
I'm finishing what I was reading first before you asked me that question.
Okay, go ahead and finish.
Gosh.
Are you done?
No!
Go ahead. You're going to have to cut this. You can't just leave dead air like this. Okay, come on. Finish.
Are you going to let me, or are you going to ask me another question and then yell at me when I haven't finished it?
I do want to know the other answer, but I want you to finish.
I'm going to have to change my shirt. I'm sweating profusely.
It's because you drink tea.
Global tea production in 2021 was 6.2 million metric tons, while coffee production was 17.2 million metric tons. It's not even close. Explain that gap, Jimbo.
Wait, 6.2 million.
Compared to 17.2 for coffee.
Well,
takes less tea to make a cup than coffee.
That was going to be my answer.
Well, you didn't say it, so I answered it for you.
Yeah.
What do you want me to look up?
Does it specify?
No, it doesn't
hot
specify.
tea consumption versus iced tea consumption and hot coffee versus iced coffee? I just want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. This may not be correct, or it may be. We just don't know. It's like our history calendar. Could be right, might not be. As part of at the end of this podcast, will the result be that I will start drinking tea instead of coffee in the morning?
Here we go.
Go ahead.
This is okay. So the answer. Are you talking? Okay.
I just wanted to know.
Because I can't look. I can't.
I'm not talking about anything. I just wanted to know.
I know. So I'm looking up first the hot tea consumption versus iced tea consumption.
Okay. Yeah.
And as I said, hot tea remains the dominant form of tea consumption globally. Iced tea consumption is significant, especially in certain regions like the United States. As I said, in the U.S., approximately 85% of tea is consumed as iced tea. Yeah. Which is why you would think, you specifically would assume that iced tea makes up a greater proportion than it does.
I was not automatically assuming globally. I was just saying what matters more is the United States. That's all.
No.
America first. I have an America first agenda. Actually, it's not America first. It's me. Me first.
I'm just glad we have that on tape.
What are you looking up iced coffee?
I'm looking up coffee. I'm doing what you asked me to do.
Okay.
Hot coffee remains the dominant choice worldwide, as we said.
I knew this. This is not surprising me. You're making it like I was. Go ahead.
Hold on. Older generations are more likely to consume hot coffee, I say as Jim reaches for his mug filled with hot coffee.
I thought you were going to say, as the older generation sitting in front of me.
Iced coffee is gaining popularity, especially among younger demographics. Gen Z is the most likely to prefer iced coffee, with 60% opting for it. Cold brew coffee, a type of iced coffee, has seen a significant increase in popularity. It's not giving me numbers.
Cold brew is
iced coffee is becoming a year-round demand.
I like iced coffee if it's hot out, not if it's cold. I mean, if it's in the morning.
Oh, here we go. A study, this doesn't say when this was done. A study by Civic Science found that 72% of coffee drinkers prefer hot coffee. But the percentage of those who prefer iced coffee has increased to 27%.
From what?
I don't know. It doesn't specify.
Why did they do that? Okay. So what have we learned?
That tea is better for you than coffee. And you should drink tea.
I'm not sure.
But not too much of it, as with everything.
Is tea acidic, though?
I also remember, I'm going to look that up right now. But I also remember at one time seeing that it was. It's mildly acidic.
Either one of those
but depends on the type.
Your teeth or dentures.
Black tea is more acidic. Green tea is less acidic.
Then what?
Just in general, is more acidic.
I'm wondering compared to
black
coffee.
Tea typically has a pH around 4.9 to 5.5. Green tea is 7 to 10. Herbal teas are 6 or 7. Citrus flavored teas are acidic, which makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
And fruit teas can be acidic depending on the.
So how does that compare to
fruit?
So the tea acidity compared to coffee, because coffee, you know, how you said, okay, heartburn and all, which I started to say. That's why normally if I drink tea, if I drink coffee later in the day, I drink decaffeinated. I guess with the assumption that it's not going to be as acidic, but maybe it is.
I'll look that up in a second too. Okay. Generally, coffee is more acidic than most types of tea. Coffee typically has a pH range of 4.85 to 5.1.
Okay.
So it's more acidic than tea, than most teas.
Maybe I'll try drinking tea.
You should try the green tea, Earl Grey tea, loose leaf mixture that I make myself.
You don't put anything in your tea, do you?
Nothing. And that's why it's healthy.
Well, here's the thing, and I don't like black coffee. I mean, I just don't like it, right? It's not like I never have sometimes would drink it, but I'm drinking it just, it's not like I would look forward to it or anything like that. So I always put cream in my tea and in my coffee. So the question is, should I put cream in my tea?
Decaf coffee is acidic, although it may be slightly less acidic than caffeinated coffee.
Okay. I mean, I did notice since I started doing decaffeinated later in the day, I don't get heartburn as often.
It says decaffeinating coffee doesn't primarily target acidic compounds, so acidity remains, but caffeine itself stimulates acid production in the stomach.
Okay, so that would make sense. Okay, well, that's good to know. Interesting that we'd be talking about something related to health since I just got my blood test back.
Absolutely not. Hard pass. This is the hardest.
I thought everyone would want to know how my blood test went.
If they want to know, they can comment that, and then we'll give the people what they want. And next week we'll do a full review of your blood work.
My blood work and all my vitals.
And everything else. And if you don't want that, then don't comment that you want that and we won't do it. Great.
All right. I do want to be healthier.
And if that is not next week's topic, then next week's topic will be why reading a book is superior to listening to a book. Okay, moving on to
This Week in History.
Welcome to This Week in History, everyone. Where are we? 1653. Oliver Cromwell declares England a protectorate.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. He was most famous for his military leadership of the Ironside forces during the English Civil War, when he assumed leadership of England after having King Charles I executed. He refused the title of king and instead named himself Lord Protector of the country.
Yeah, that sounds very good.
That sounds much better than king.
That sounds like something Donald Trump would name himself.
That does. So is that just why it's a protectorate? Because he was the Lord Protector? And you can't.
Look that up. Look up protectorate.
I am. What does it look like I'm doing?
The reason I say that is I'm trying to buy time because we have to fill this air somehow.
A protectorate is a state that is controlled and protected by another.
Oh.
Or,
okay,
the second definition, the position or period of office of a protector, especially that in England of Oliver and Richard Cromwell.
Oh, there you
so
go.
there you go. It's literally just because
this is a circular reference.
It is. It really is. Okay. 1918. Germany's Red Baron is killed in action. This obviously makes me think of Snoopy.
He was killed by Snoopy.
Yes. What was he doing? In the skies over France, Manfred Albrecht Frere von Richthofen. I don't know. This is the Red Baron. Maybe. The renowned German flying ace known as the Red Baron was killed at age 25 by Allied fire. I didn't know he was only 25. Jeez. I don't know why I was.
Okay, does it say his accomplishments? Like how many people, how many planes he shot down?
No. At a time when... Oh, here we go. Yes, it does. At a time when 20 air victories ensured a pilot legendary status, Richthofen had downed 80 enemy aircraft and confirmed kills. The British buried him in France with full military honors. His remains were later exhumed and reburied in his family cemetery in Wiesbaden, Germany.
Does that not seem weird, though? The British buried him with full military honors.
Sure.
So he shot down over 80 Allied planes.
Enemy aircraft.
Right, enemy aircraft, which
yes,
I would say that would be Allied planes. It would be like us giving Osama bin Laden full military honors.
I don't like that.
I know, but it's like the same thing. It's weird. How many people were in each of those planes?
I don't know. 1978. Well, today, Tuesday, is Earth Day. And in 1978, the Blues Brothers make their world premiere on Saturday Night Live.
I think that's a bigger deal than
I'm not reading
Earth
the rest
Day.
of this. This is a giant paragraph that I'm not reading. Look up the Blues Brothers if you'd like.
No, I know the Blues Brothers.
1984, scientists identify the AIDS virus as HTLV-3.
Wait, could you say that again?
Is that how you say it? What?
Say it again.
Scientists identify the AIDS virus as HTLV-3. They just gave it a specific scientific name.
Yeah.
We all know about AIDS. In 1800, the Library of Congress is established. Woo!
By who established it?
You don't know?
Was it the Great?
Why not? Why not? Who was it?
Are you going to put that in? Is it the Great Benjamin Franklin?
'Twas not.
John Adams.
Yes, it was. It was President John Adams.
I bet you it was Ben Franklin's idea.
I bet you it was too. I bet you it was something they had talked about years ago.
Yeah.
And he was like, I need this under my name before Franklin can get his hands on it. Although, what?
No, I was thinking it was years later when the rice.
He's laughing to himself. You haven't lost the line. We're still here. He's just laughing, and I'm waiting him.
Uncle Ben's rice.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's not funny. Oh gosh. Anyway, I think
brown rice or white rice.
I think what's more fun about Ben Franklin is that all of the things that he invented and contributed to society that he did not get any patents for because he felt like
he just gave them. Yeah,
people should just
more
have
important
these
for the
things.
good of society. The reason,
God
just
love
by
him.
the way, just so I can clear this up, the reason I said is it brown rice or white rice because I thought afterwards somebody's going to think I'm that's a racist thing. No. Brown rice is better for you.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to point out. Because
1990,
this episode is obviously very health related.
In 1990, NASA places Hubble telescope into orbit.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
exciting.
Cool.
And in 1937, Nazis test Luftwaffe on Spain. I don't know how to pronounce these words.
What is
I don't
that?
know German.
What is it?
Their Air Force. Over 1,000 civilians died during the impromptu attack. Jeez.
Wait, they tested?
Yes, the air raid tactics introduced on this day were adopted by both the Allied and Axis powers during World War II.
Oh, so that was a specific
This was on
tactic.
April 26, 1937.
So they said, for a test, let's kill how many people?
1,000. Over 1,000 civilians.
I guess in their
died in
mind, the
Spain.
test went pretty well.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, all right, well, we're moving on to
Listener feedback, yeah.
listener comments. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Crack myself up. Which, again, we don't have a lot of, so I guess we're losing the people. I don't know. I'm sorry that we're losing you all. What would you all like us to talk about?
My health.
Let us know.
My blood test
If you
results.
want us to talk about Jim's health, we'll talk about that. If you have episode ideas for us, we're open to them. We
Right.
love learning and arguing.
Yep.
So give us a topic. I'm grateful. Our first comment is from Eric, who says, Samantha, I'm happy to verify that Dad is super dramatic when he doesn't feel well and also snores super loudly. But he said, in fairness, I am also super dramatic when I'm not feeling well, as Maria, his wife, will be happy to verify.
Yeah, I got I got the new phone and I enabled snore detection.
Yes, you said.
Which it only actually works when you have your phone charging.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it actually records it so you could listen to yourself snoring.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I did. I'll let you listen to it later.
I don't need to. I know exactly what it sounds like.
I'm going to let you listen to it. You could put part of it in with the podcast if other people want to know.
Hard pass.
We'll do that next week as part of the episode on my health, focused on my health.
Someone commented, they just laughing at the joke that you made. Some people ship Flynn and Rapunzel, but if you replace her with Elsa.
I never even got to finish.
What? Was there more?
I don't remember now.
Great. A comment. This is from last week's episode, obviously.
Go ahead.
I think the donkey one is interesting because it's basically just sort of a lesson on indecision, like a reminder that if you're dragging your feet because you can't decide between two things, you might end up with the worst outcome of them all.
We should. I'm just thinking when we're
think
talking
that
about a
was the whole
comment, we
point.
should like refresh people's memory on what the comment was, what we were
You mean
talking about.
you?
No, we should. I'm saying because if
Yeah, obviously.
somebody
So
tunes
last
into
week,
one specific podcast, they won't.
week we were talking about philosophical thought problems, and there's a donkey that he hasn't eaten or had anything to drink in weeks, and you put a pail of water in front of him and a stack of hay, and he can't decide because he needs and wants both of them. So he doesn't decide and he dies.
That's like the weirdest thing. I just still can't get over that. That is a
Yep.
stupid donkey.
You said you had, oh, well, we're moving on to
If you have grievances, and I'm sure you have.
grievances. You said
Yes,
you had a grievance?
I have one.
A grievance?
Yes, this is
What
a
is it?
grievance. I think everyone,
I hope you can hear us.
people are so selfish. Okay, they all focus on basically themselves, right? No, seriously, everyone focuses on themselves, and think about in the long run where that gets people. Does it get us anywhere as a society?
I
No.
mean, you seem to be doing pretty well yourself.
Well, here's my point. If everyone just for once would focus on the well-being of
me, there it is.
okay,
There it is.
if we would all concentrate our effort on that, I think we might have a better outcome.
I think that is a super, not talking about you, I think that is a super idealistic thought to have, because
It's the joy of giving.
I try to think about other people over myself a lot, but I think that is a privilege that you only have when you're comfortable enough in life that you
To
can
think
do
of other
that.
people?
Yes,
Yeah.
kind of like how we've talked about before with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and all that.
Yeah,
You need certain things first. You need
Right.
food, shelter, clothing.
right.
And until you have those things, I don't think it's selfish to say, I can't worry about you.
I can't worry. Yeah,
I need food, shelter, and clothing. Like
right.
that kind of mindset. And so I do think everybody needs to be less selfish in general, but I think it's a privilege to be able to think of other people over yourself.
That's true. I can't even argue with that.
Amazing.
That's true. But it goes back to my favorite economist, Milton Friedman,
Sure.
who always says, basically the economy works based on people making decisions based on their own self-interest. And that's not a bad thing. That's just reality. It's not a good thing or it's a bad thing. It's just reality, right? And you have to structure you have to structure your economic system based on that. So
You
that gets into
do,
a whole other thing. What?
And I guess we still haven't really had an episode on economics, which we should, because not that this is an argument necessarily, but as Adam Smith, the father of economics, pointed out about the invisible hand theory, which is that in people doing things for themselves and thinking, well, I'm just going to do this and make sure that I'm good or whatever, there are invisible works at play and consequences that you don't see from your actions. And so to say, I'm just doing this for myself and that's going to create this betterment for me, or I'm just doing this for whoever and this is going to create that betterment for them, there are always unintended consequences that could be good.
Right.
And in a lot of cases maybe are, but could also be bad.
This should be the episode next week.
Maybe it will.
It should be the episode next week.
love
because
economics.
obviously your background that would be great for this. I have, strong opinions, which is all I have. That's all I have.
I will be the logic and you will be the emotion. My favorite.
No, I don't, because I want to get into it, but
All right.
it's an episode.
Here's my complaint for today. Actually, maybe I'll have two. Here's my first one. My first one is, and we obviously talked a lot about hospitality in general and treating people better that work in hospitality and all that. And I just want to complain about a specific instance that happened last week. Why do you look confused?
No, I was looking at something wrong. Go ahead.
No, you weren't paying attention to me.
No,
while
I
was
wanted to make sure
talking?
this was recording and I was looking at the wrong thing. So
Is it
we're good.
recording?
We're good.
Okay. Where my friend worked past tense in a restaurant. It's a restaurant chain. I'm not going to specifically say which chain it is. Maybe in the future I will, but I'm not going to. They're horrible. I'll say that. She worked for them. Long story short, she They were very busy last Friday, and she probably did not give the best service to this one table. It was a lady and her daughter or son, I can't remember, young child. But she's nice. Like, this server is a nice person in general. Like, she's not mean. She does her best. This lady left, and I didn't read it myself, but this lady left a scathing review for them internally, like not online, not on Google or anything, just for them to see in their internal reports about this server. And due to that review, the server was fired the next time she came in to work her shift. And I am so irked by this because I feel like I have so many thoughts, and I don't want to get get into all of this, obviously. But first of all, I think that's so insane for the company to
based on
have
one
that
customer
much
complaint.
weight
Yeah.
for something like that. If she had been really rude, and which I know she was not, if she had been really rude,
or if it was repeated thing,
yes,
right?
Which, I mean, you know, maybe she had other bad reviews that I don't know about, or something like this server. To be fair, maybe I don't know. I don't know if she did. Maybe she doesn't know she did. Anyway, but what I do know is this was kind of like the thing that got her fired.
Right.
And for this lady, I just feel like, one, I feel bad for her, and I think that she needs friends and she needs a hobby, because I have left plenty of times in my life reviews for people. 99% of those reviews, 99.9% of those reviews have been positive.
Right.
Like, this person did a great job, and they did a great job for this reason, and they deserve a raise, and whatever. Not for friends or anything, just for good people in restaurants, in a theme park, wherever.
You wanted them to be recognized.
Yes, exactly. I can't even think of a time right now that I've left a bad review, but I'm sure I have, like maybe one or two in my entire life. And that was when I can't even think of a specific time, but it was because that person did something that was like not okay.
Yep.
Like, verbally assaulted me, or I don't know, like physically did something to someone I was with or something.
It wasn't really rude.
Right. It wasn't just me being in a bad mood,
right,
and feeling like the world revolves around me,
right,
and wanting this person to get in trouble.
Well, it's annoying because in any of those situations, right, whether it's a restaurant or any other hospitality situations, you can see if it's busy.
Yes, exactly.
Like, you can, and even if someone is not a great server, but they're not rude,
yes,
right?
If
I'm not going to
trying.
take the time to leave a review that at a minimum is going to have a very negative effect on that person,
yes,
right? At a minimum. And in this case, this person lost their job.
She did, and I want to add that she has a newborn that is less than a year old.
Yeah.
So this was her way of paying part. I mean, she obviously her the guy that she's with has whatever job he has, but this was her contribution to taking care of her child.
Right.
And so this lady literally got her fired. She has to find another job. Like,
and now how does she feel? Think about it, because she knew probably like how busy it was that night. She was probably going crazy trying to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
And after this, okay, she's going to feel like, what's the point?
Yep.
Why even bother? Why even try to be nice to people? Because you have, like this Karen. Okay, I wouldn't even be. I wonder if her name is actually Karen. That'd be hilarious and appropriate. I mean, I wish nothing but the worst for this person.
Yeah.
It'd be great if everyone got exactly what they deserved in life. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
No.
But I'll tell you what, and I've said this before, man, if I was there and I saw the way this lady was acting, I can't say for sure, but I would have found it very difficult not to say something to her.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, calm down. They're obviously busy.
I was going to say, you mean as a customer, not if you worked there.
Totally
You're
as a customer.
talking about as a customer. If you
and
saw
like we said before, because the worst part is if you work there, you can't say anything. So it's like, for her, it's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Right.
It's like, oh, I bet this makes you feel great about yourself, you disgusting piece of crap.
Yep.
Like, it's just so despicable. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
So for that lady in particular, I genuinely, I want to know, first of all, what made her like this? What in her life happened that made her such a bitter and like vindictive person and selfish, because clearly
Right.
the world revolves around her. And I just want to implore anyone that listens to this, please don't ever be that person again,
No.
unless it's an extreme scenario.
Yeah.
Where someone's literally like cursing you out or threatens you or like these people, especially in these roles in the service industry, in stores, in restaurants, at theme parks, wherever, hotels, these people do not deserve that.
No.
They don't deserve it. And
It's
if
so
you are
dehumanizing.
unhappy with the service, don't tip the server,
Yeah.
leave, and don't come back.
Yeah.
If that's how you feel, that's it. You can ask to talk to a manager, and if that doesn't help
I'm
or
sure,
whatever, don't come back.
Well, I'm sure that woman will never be back.
I'm sure. Anyway.
You would hope.
You would hope. You would think. So please just, again, I know we've talked a lot about this before, and we're going on now about it, but I just have so much anger for this situation because it's like, genuinely, just go get a life.
If you're the kind of person that does that, you are disgusting.
Yes.
You are like the worst. You're the lowest level. You're just above serial killers. Literally.
Yes.
You're like you ruin life for everyone.
And
nobody likes you.
And I think, and I've said this to you, what maybe bothers me the most about this whole situation is that you always wonder where these kinds of people come from and like what made them like that. And I don't know what made her like that, but what I do know is she's setting the worst example for her child. Doing stuff like that.
And is she raising the next generation of her?
Yeah, exactly. So please just don't be that person. Don't be that person. Nobody likes that person. You have other things to do with your time.
What a great note to end the episode on.
Anyway. I just have so much hate.
How about be the opposite? How about be the positive person who, like,
that writes
if somebody's writes a good review, or especially when you see someone's really busy and they're doing their best, how about you write a good review, or at least leave them a decent tip, or even just be nice to them.
I was just going to say, you don't even have to go like the extra mile and write a nice review, which honestly you should do because people are more likely to leave poor reviews than to spend the time writing nice reviews. So you should anyway. But if you don't want to do that, just at least be nice to them and treat them like a human being, because that's literally what they are. They're just a person. It's you. That could be your daughter.
I'd love to know what,
or your best friend.
This horrendous lady, what her job is. Does she have a job? What,
I don't know.
Because I don't know. I guess I don't want to just jump to conclusions, but I'd love to know what her job is.
I'm trying to think of like a nicer way to end this.
Well, next week we can do an update on our bathroom remodel.
Oh, that it should be finished by then, shouldn't it?
It should be. Oh,
sweating
actually,
profusely.
So we.
You know what else bothers me?
What's today? The 21st.
You know what else bothers me?
Yes.
It is the 21st. It's Monday. We're recording this on Monday for Tuesday. I lied earlier when I said it was Tuesday.
I'll be leaving the day after we record next week.
Great. The other thing that annoys me very quickly, which we don't have to go into great detail about this, but I really hate when people try to be influencers online, like fitness influencers or health and wellness or something like that. And it's not because they actually worked really hard if they have like a good body or anything like that. It's not because they worked really hard to get it. It's because they're either really rich so they can afford like a different lifestyle, or they just have good genes and they were like literally born with a really nice structure and they make a living somehow off of teaching people how to work out and how to eat healthy, when it's like, you'd be fine. Like you didn't work for this, and it's really annoying that you try to make it like, just do this and you'll look like me, because that's not how that works.
Yeah. Well, no, it is annoying when somebody like a podcast or any social media, someone who's already famous decides they're going to do that, right?
Yep.
And of course, immediately they have, whatever, hundreds of thousands of followers, whatever. Stupid. Dumb.
Yep. I have so many influencers. I only really use TikTok. I don't really use social media in general anymore. But on TikTok, I should go and look and see if you could see your blocked users. Anytime I see an influencer that, if it's that where they were already famous and they just like I block them, or if I see one or two of their videos and I'm like, this is so garbage. How do you have 20 million followers? I block them.
Yeah,
good. Get rid of what does not bring you joy.
Yeah.
That's me blocking the influencers every time.
That's along what I was saying in the beginning about marketing. It's the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing. Anybody who buys a product based on because somebody famous endorses it, it's like, that's so stupid.
The world is not fair. That's my complaint for today,
Okay.
I guess, in general.
Okay, well, what a great note to leave.
But you're going to have a great day, listener. You are.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah,
but you are.
all downhill, uphill from now, whatever. It's going to get better.
I still don't know what the correct saying is. Because you think downhill because you're like, I've climbed the hill. I did the hard part. Now I can coast down.
Yeah.
But is it...
Things are looking up.
But then you're like, you're going downhill. Like, this is not good for you. You're falling down the hill. Yep. And then if you're like, it's all uphill, which means like, once you get to the top, it's going to be a lovely view. Like, I don't know what the correct saying is.
I don't know. It's like when you're on a roller coaster and you're going up and then you realize you're going to be, all
right, well, stay tuned. We'll answer that question next week. I'll look it up in the interim.
That's great.
Reason to come back.
Okay.
God bless us, everyone. What?
Darn it. I had that. Oh, right here. I had that sneaked already.
Where does oopsie daisy come from? Oopsie daisy.
Hold on.
How do you spell oopsie? Is it poopsie?
Yes. Like poopsie without the P.
Originates from the 18th century phrase up a daisy, which was derived from dialectical up a day. This phrase was used as an exclamatory remark when someone was being lifted up or encouraging someone to get up after a fall. Over time, variations like oops and whoops emerged, eventually becoming standard interjections in their own right.
Up a
day. It was up a day. And then that morphed into up a daisy. And that morphed into oops a daisy. And that morphed into whoops a daisy.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Wait. Hello? Hello.
Here's...
Hello.
Is it working?
Everyone. Hello, one and all.
Are they working? Oh, are you recording?
Oh, yes.
You are recording. Okay.